Hello, good afternoon, and welcome everybody. I'm Miss Bethany. I'm a librarian at the Nelson Township branch of Kent District Library up in Sand Lake, and I'm super excited to be sharing some awesome reads with you today. I chose my books this week on a bit of a theme. This week is Transgender Awareness Week, and this week ends in Transgender Day of Remembrance on November 20th. So what that means is this coming week, started on the 13th, is a lot about trying to make sure that we're aware of the ways that we may speak, the ways that we may encounter the world that are very different for people who are not the same gender as they were assigned at birth. So for instance, ladies and gentlemen doesn't actually include everybody. Something that I would have thought was a really good and easy way to enter a conversation, start a program. It's not applicable to every person, and I don't want anybody to feel like they're being left out. So now I say folks or everybody and hello friends, things like that. Try to make sure everybody is included. I'm going to promote something real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some really awesome teen and young adult reads that are transgender positive. All right, we're back. So first thing I'm really excited to share with you all today is a book called Spell Hacker by M.K. England. She's also the author of The Disasters. And The Disasters, Spell Hacker is about this. In Kirkarta, magic, known as Maz, was once freely available as a natural resource until an earthquake released a magical plague, killing thousands and turning Maz into a commodity that is tightly regulated and outrageously expensive. Maz Management, the only Maz supplier in Kirkarta, makes sure of that, which is why Diz and her three best friends run a very lucrative, very illegal Maz siphoning gig on the side. Their latest job is supposed to be their last heist ever, until they turn up a new strain of Maz, more powerful than any they've ever seen before, and way more valuable. But when their plan for one last score blows up in their faces, literally, they find themselves trying to unravel a conspiracy at the very center of the spell plague and possibly save the world. No pressure. So 18-year-old tech genius Diz, and her best friends are pulling off that final heist, and the reason why Maz is so tightly regulated is that an earthquake released the spell plague, which is contaminated Maz into the world. It killed thousands, infected a lot of others, and it's a chronic illness that worsens over time. So with this Maz management company coming in to try and make sure that things are a little bit more cleaned up and a little bit better, they charge a fortune for just a little bit of Maz. Diz was orphaned by the spell plague and works with caretaker Jason and non-binary spellweaver Remy. They formed a family, adopted a wealthy tech witch named Ania, and the group together works to try and do the siphoning of Maz from the company MNC. They find themselves in the middle of this new kind of Maz problem, the Maz 15 problem, and are trying to make sure that this new, very powerful Maz is not going to cause something even worse. And so England, the author, creates a well-rounded multicultural crew in a world that blends fantasy and science fiction, and even with somewhat predictable plot twists, there's a lot of intrigue. There's a lot of will they, won't they for Remy and Diz and their relationship, and the story is pretty engaging. Recommended age is 14 and up for that one. Going to move on to this one. This is The Witch Boy. It is a graphic novel by Molly Knox Osterang. Molly is a contributor to the show. Noelle Stevenson is married to Molly Osterring, and if you know Noelle Stevenson's work from TV shows and stuff like that, you'll know that their work is also very gender friendly. So, The Witch Boy, awesome graphic novel. Magic fans will welcome it. It's modern day forest settlement where girls become witches and boys learn how to be shapeshifters. Aster is a boy who should be focusing on transforming into an animal, but instead, to his family's dismay and embarrassment, he's finding ways to hang around where the girls are learning witchcraft. Technical spellcasting details abound in the book. For instance, the containment rune would work for a while, but with the name of its subject, it will be much more powerful. When several boys disappear during a shape-shifting practice, Aster realizes that he can save them by using witchcraft to battle the strange and powerful enemy, but he'll have to break family traditions and risk his life. With the help of new friend Charlie, a human girl with beaded braids and a serious leg injury, Aster's able to deploy witch knowledge to save the two settlement boys and uncover the truth behind his family's darkest secret. Osterring is in full control of the plotting, dialogue, and visual techniques to advance the story, and her sturdy panel artwork and family-centered narrative is warm and wholesome. Beneath the fantastical elements lies a story about upending gender expectations, forging identity, and uncovering heroic potential in oneself. So, taking care of what you know to be true about yourself, that gender identity can be separate from what pronouns you use, and it can be connected to how you feel about another part of yourself. This book is amazing for that. And you can be feminine and be a boy, and you can be masculine and be a girl. All of those things are still true, and this is an amazing book that, let me show some of the beautiful art in here, that allows you to see that family is important, and it's a very supportive family novel. Even if at some points it doesn't seem like it will be, it is a really good story. It's also just the first in a series. There are several other books in the series after it, so check that one out. I'm going to run one more promotion, and then we'll be back for our last book for today. All right, last book I'm super excited to share with you today is Dreadnought. It is the first in the Nemesis series by April Daniels. And there's a little bit of disagreement between the reviewers on what group this is appropriate for. I've got ages 12 and up and grade 9 and up, so your mileage may vary. This story is about a transgender teenager who's transformed into her ideal self after being imbued with the powers of the world's greatest superhero. It's the first book in that series. When Danny unexpectedly becomes the recipient of popular superhero Dreadnought's mantle, the superpowers also transform her body into the female one she has always identified with. Because Danny is not yet an adult, the Legion of Superheroes is not sure on how to approach this unique situation. As the latest iteration of Dreadnought, 15-year-old Danielle is now expected to train with the local team, the Legion Pacifica, until she's ready to become a fully fledged hero. Unfortunately, her parents would rather cure her and turn her back into Danny, and her reception among the other heroes is mixed at best. Danielle teams up with vigilante superheroine Calamity to track down the previous Dreadnought's murderer, only to stumble on a plan to destroy the human race. In an impressive debut, Danielle skillfully conveys Danielle's pain, confusion, and emotional complexity as she faces a host of detractors and conflicts. While Danielle's supernatural transformation comes off as an easy solution compared to the journeys of real-world transgender teenagers, the novel's comic book trappings allow for a fascinating exploration of gender identity with the fantastical setting. Danielle's evolution from confused teen to confident hero is entertaining and inspiring. I'm actually going to read a little section of this book before we end today. I seriously consider never going back. In the vacant calm that comes right after a hard crash, I realize I could just fly away, and never come back. The cold doesn't bother me. Being in orbit doesn't bother me. So I don't even need a place to sleep if I can find a comfortable spot in the woods. For food, I could figure something out. Maybe I could get an aerial courier job and get paid under the table. A passenger jet roars past on the approach to the airport. It's only a few hundred yards away, and I realize I've drifted into crowded airspace. I angle away and begin putting distance between me and the landing approach zone. There's a loud crumpling noise and something like tearing metal. I look back, and the plane's right engine is in the midst of disintegrating. Flames shoot out of the back, and a solid trail of noxious black smoke streams from the engine. As I watch, there's a short whine and then a loud bang as engine deteriorates. I'm pretty sure the airline engine casings are designed to contain explosions from the engine, but if that's the case, this one must be faulty. The whole rear of the wing gets sprayed with shrapnel, and a long piece of the control flap rips away and goes spiraling down into darkness. The plane groans in agony, tips over to the right, and begins to fall. No, I shout, and without really thinking, I'm boosting for speed with everything I've got. I cross 500 yards in a matter of moments. In those moments, the plane has tipped almost all the way onto its side, its nose coming down sharply. There's maybe a half mile of altitude to work with here, and the enormous jet is picking up speed as it dives for the black water below us. I get up under and next to the burning wing, meaning to push it back up and help the pilots level out. I throw my shoulder into it, and I bounce off. It's with an icy lurch that I realize I've never pushed anything in midair. I have no idea how. I hit the wing again. I bounce away again. It's not working. The only thing in my head is that I don't know what I'm doing now. So, great, awesome, fun story. Superheroes, especially if you like superhero stories, this one is for you. All right, we've got a comment here. All right, thank you, AJ, for watching, and thanks for the thumbs up. Have a great day, everybody. Super glad I could share that with you today. Have an awesome weekend.